I can feel it in the air, 12s. Something is shifting in the VMAC. We all watched Kenneth Walker walk away and hoist a trophy elsewhere, and it left a hole in our hearts and our backfield. We are standing at a crossroads, and the next move defines our era. Before we dive into this massive development, I have a personal favor. We are pushing for 1,000 subscribers to truly build this community. If you love the Hawks, please hit that button. It means everything to me. Let us build this legacy together for our beloved Seattle Seahawks. The silence in Seattle right now feels heavy because we know the truth about our ground game. With Kenneth Walker III, now a champion in Kansas City, the identity of this offense is searching for a pulse. There is a growing buzz that the front office might be looking toward New Orleans to find that spark. The name being whispered is Alvin Kamara. This is not just a rumor about a veteran. It is a conversation about survival in a competitive NFC West. Our backfield currently sits in a state of high-profile transition. Zach Charbonnet is the projected lead, but his recovery from a torn ACL creates a terrifying uncertainty for the 2026 season. We are looking at a scenario where a rookie like Jadarian Price or a free agent like Emmanuel Wilson has to carry the load for Sam Darnold. That is a lot of pressure to put on a young group when the expectations in Seattle remain sky-high. Reports suggest that as the Saints shift their philosophy, Kamara could become the missing piece for a team like ours. But here is the thing. Bringing in a name like Kamara is not just about the yards. It is about providing Sam Darnold with a security blanket that can catch passes and navigate the blitz. Mike Macdonald's system thrives on versatility, and there are few players in league history who embody that better than Kamara. We are talking about a player who can redefine how we move the chains on third down. However, the emotional weight of this potential move is tied to our history. We have seen big-name veterans come to Seattle before, and it does not always lead to a parade. The prospect of trading for Kamara feels like a high-stakes gamble to keep our Super Bowl window from slamming shut. If we stay with the status quo, we are betting everything on a recovery timeline and a rookie's potential. But if we make the move, we are signaling to the entire league that the Seahawks are not in a rebuild. We are in a hunt. It feels like the front office is weighing the soul of the roster against the immediate need for a playmaker who can keep this offense afloat while the young stars continue to find their footing. And this is where it gets interesting because we have to look past the jersey and the highlight reels. We have to talk about the reality of Alvin Kamara in 2026. He is no longer that explosive kid who set the world on fire in 2020. Last season, his numbers took a noticeable dip, and that has some fans feeling very uneasy. He is turning 31 this July, and in NFL years, especially for a running back, that is the twilight zone. The production in New Orleans suggests he is being phased out, especially after they handed a massive contract to Travis Etienne. It creates this sense of emotional conflict for us. On one hand, you see a legend who could mentor Price and Wilson, providing that veteran leadership we lost when Walker left. On the other hand, you see a player whose efficiency is trending downward. The stats show a player who struggled to break 500 yards on the ground last year. Is that enough to justify a trade? Some are saying that his reduced role in New Orleans actually preserved his body, making him a fresh option for a secondary role in Seattle. But the risk is immense. If we trade assets for a player who has already lost his step, we are just burning draft capital that could be used to build the future. The tension comes from the unknown. Is Kamara's decline a result of a struggling Saints offense, or is it the inevitable wall that every great back eventually hits? Watching him in a Saints uniform lately, he looks like a high-end rotational piece rather than a primary engine. For a team like the Seahawks, who are trying to find a new identity under Macdonald, bringing in an aging star could either be a masterstroke of leadership or a costly distraction. We have to wonder if the front office sees something in the tape that the statistics are not showing. There is a narrative that Kamara could thrive in a fresh environment where he is not the only focus of the defense. If he can give us even 70% of his peak self, he becomes the most dangerous weapon in Sam Darnold's arsenal. But if the decline is permanent, we are left holding a contract for a player who can no longer create the magic we need. The implications for the locker room chemistry are just as significant as the numbers on the field, because this could become something much bigger than just a backfield rotation. We have to talk about the money and the long-term vision of John Schneider. Seattle is looking at nearly $67 million in cap space for 2026, which sounds like a dream. But the reality is far more complex. We have major extensions looming for Sam Darnold and Uchenna Nwosu. Those are the pillars of our future. And you look at the dead money situation. We are still carrying the weight of the DK Metcalf trade to Pittsburgh, and that leaves very little room for error. Kamara carries the largest cap hit of any running back in the league right now. Even with the Saints using CBA rules to lower that hit to $10 million, it is still a massive investment for a 31-year-old. The biggest question is whether we can afford to take that risk while trying to secure our core. If we bring Kamara in, does that mean we lose the ability to keep a young defensive star later? The financial tightrope is thinning. Some reports suggest the Saints might be willing to eat some of that salary just to move him, and if that happens, the math changes instantly. But without that concession, we are looking at a veteran contract that could become an anchor. This is where the tension lies for the 12s. We want the win now, but we don't want to mortgage the next 3 years for a one-year rental. The shadow of the Metcalf trade still hangs over the VMAC, reminding us that even the most talented stars can be moved if the fit isn't perfect. Now consider the pressure on Sam Darnold. He needs weapons to succeed, and he needs a run game that defenses actually fear. Without a viable threat in the backfield, opposing coordinators will just pin their ears back and hunt our quarterback. This trade isn't just about Alvin Kamara. It is about protecting the investment we made in our signal caller. If the front office believes Kamara is the key to keeping Darnold upright and efficient, they might decide the financial risk is worth the reward. But the margin for error is razor-thin, and one bad contract could derail the strategic pivot we have been working so hard to achieve. It is a game of chess where the pieces are millions of dollars and the future of the franchise. I'm going to be honest with you all, this move actually worries me and excites me at the same time. I really like the idea of Kamara's veteran presence. Imagine him in the locker room with Jadarian Price, teaching a rookie how to read professional defensive fronts and how to be a weapon in the screen game. That kind of mentorship is priceless. And I think fans should pay attention to how this fits with our current youth movement. We just saw Jackson Smith-Jigba emerge as potentially the best receiver in the league, and we committed a massive contract to him. The identity of the Seattle Seahawks is shifting toward this explosive young core. Does an aging Alvin Kamara fit that timeline? I want to believe he does. I want to believe that he has one more legendary season left in those legs. If the price is just a 5th or 6th round pick, it feels like a low-risk, high-reward move that could push us over the edge. But I also worry that we are trying to fix a long-term problem with a short-term band-aid. This actually reminds me of moves we have made in the past that felt great in July but looked desperate by November. However, there is something about Mike Macdonald that makes me trust his vision. If he thinks he can use Kamara as a chess piece to create mismatches, then I am all in. It could be incredible to see Kamara and JSN on the field together, forcing defenses to choose who to double. That is the dream. But this could also become a problem if Kamara isn't willing to accept a rotational role, or if his body simply gives out under the turf of the Pacific Northwest. We have to be realistic about what we are asking of him. We don't need the 2020 version of Kamara. We just need a reliable, high IQ football player who can make a play when the game is on the line. I am choosing to stay cautiously optimistic because this team feels like it is one piece away from something special. Whether that piece is a veteran legend or a surging rookie remains the ultimate debate among the faithful. We are watching the evolution of the Seahawks in real time, and every decision feels like it carries the weight of 1,000 expectations. The next few weeks are going to be some of the most intense in recent memory for this organization. The decision to pursue Alvin Kamara or trust the internal depth will tell us exactly what John Schneider and Mike Macdonald think about this roster's ceiling. Is this a team that is ready to win a championship right now, or are we still building the foundation? The uncertainty is what makes being a fan so exhausting and so beautiful all at once. If the deal happens, the landscape of the NFC West changes overnight. If it doesn't, the pressure on Price and the recovering Charbonnet becomes almost unbearable. The story of the 2026 Seahawks is still being written, and this chapter could be the most pivotal one yet. I want to hear from you, the real fans who ride with this team through every high and low. Do you think Alvin Kamara is the missing piece to get us back to the Super Bowl, or is he a risk we simply cannot afford to take right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get a real debate going. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and help us hit that 1,000 mark. We are building something special here for the 12s, and your support is what keeps this channel moving forward. Stay tuned, because I have a feeling the news out of the VMAC is just getting started. Go Hawks!